सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Dear devotees and friends from Scotland, from Aberdeen especially, it's a great pleasure to come here again to participate in this spiritual retreat on a very important theme. It is very important, but at the same time, the most neglected aspect of our life, because the very theme itself suggests the role of meditation in our daily lives. So the question should not arise at all. It should be taken for granted that meditation should form an important part of our daily life. There should not be any questions about that. But unfortunately, our lifestyle has changed so much thanks to so much of activity going on. There was activity in prehistoric times as well, but the sheer complication of the life as we find in the modern world, with lot of influences, man-made influences, obviously, we have discovered so many things, especially the development in science and technology, and especially the social media. We have invented all these things with the sole purpose of making our life easy, more peaceful, more comfortable, and obviously to solve all our problems. The suffering which our ancestors in prehistoric times suffered. So humanity began this quest with the intention and developed science and technology with the intention that it will make our life much more easy, reduce our suffering, physical, mental, or otherwise, and make this world a more livable place. So initially we thought we succeeded. We definitely succeeded as far as physical comforts are concerned. Food became more accessible, medicines, a lot of progress has been made. People do not die of simple infections, which they used to do maybe 200 years ago. There has been development in medicine, there has been development in nutrition, food production, and also in general economy, the interaction, the transport, and the infrastructure, everything has changed for the better. Obviously, these are the benefits of science and technology, we cannot deny them. But at the same time, we cannot say with certainty that the world has become a happier place, a peaceful place to live in spite of all these developments. If that was the case, then we would have said that science, technology, and whatever modern developments have taken place has served humanity and we are progressing. So once Swami Vivekananda was asked to define civilization or define progress in civilization, we believe in the theory of evolution and we believe also that humanity has progressed. Our ancestors, the Stone Age people, were struggling for food. They used to kill animals and somehow survive. And we have made so much of progress, obviously, at the physical level. So we assume that humanity has progressed as the intelligence with which man has dealt with his surroundings, the environment, and the resources that he has at his disposal. He has been able to manipulate them using advances in science and technology, and obviously has tried his best to make this world a happy place to live in. So we should imagine that the world should be a more peaceful, a more livable place now. But apart from the physical comforts, somewhere we see at the mental level there are a lot of issues which are not resolved. We have made developments in psychiatry, psychology, the way we deal with minds, the way we educate children or educate our human beings, so that even apart from their physical problems, even the problems that they have to face, which involve the mind, which are more subtle, they are also addressed. And a lot of progress has been made. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, at the end of all this, so when Swami Vivekananda was asked about 120 years ago, when he visited the West, when a lot of progress that we see today was already happening. Of course, over the last 50 years, tremendous changes have happened. Obviously, he was not witness to that. But whatever progress humanity had made, especially in the Western, in Europe and in the West, in America, where he visited, he was asked a very simple question by the academicians, by thoughtful people who were also questioning. Not that they accepted that everything that we have done has improved our life. They had their own doubts. So somebody asked, has civilization really progressed? How would you define, from your point of view, from the Indian point of view, from the spiritual point of view, how would you define progress? So he gave a wonderful definition. Civilization, there are many definitions of civilization, and many sociologists will differ. They will say civilization means ease of living, comforts, economic development. There are so many indexes, GDP of a country, hundreds of parameters are there. If we go by those parameters, then the richest country should be the happiest places to live in. But recently, there was a survey made where the happiness index of different countries was found out. There are different parameters to even measure that. Everything uh, can be statistically measured nowadays. Statistics has made so much of progress, just as we measure the GDP and the economic progress and classify different nations into rich, developed, underdeveloped, developing. So also there is your United Nations and many other WHO, for example, World Health Organization. They thought if we want to really measure the happiness index of a human being and see what are the parameters that increase the happiness, increase the levels of peace that he experiences in his life, not as an individual, but also as society on the whole nations. How can you say, you may say this nation has the highest GDP and economically it is the most powerful, or as far as military is concerned, it is very powerful. But can we measure happiness? Can we measure peace? Which is the most peaceful country? Which is the most happy country where a majority of people are happy? So they call it happiness index. There are many parameters which determine what constitutes real happiness. Is it money? Is it wealth? Is it progress? Is it the government? Is it the political system? Every system says our system is the best. Democrats will say democracy is the best. Of course, capital others would not agree. Communists may not agree with them. They said, no, we have a better idea of what society, happy society, can be designed. So there are political changes, political views, but then finally they agreed upon certain basic requirements which measures the happiness of a person in society, and they called it happiness index. And if you go by the latest WHO statistics, some of the poorest countries are the happiest in the world. So it's a confusion. There's a lot of confusion. Are we happy because we are rich? Or are we happy because we can live with little, very little resources at our disposal? What defines happiness? So, along with increasing the ease of living, somehow down the line, the happiness index has fallen. That is what the surveys, most of the surveys tell you. It is not proportional to the progress in civilization as it is defined. So Swami Vivekananda gave another definition. He was a historian, he was a economist, he was all in one. He had access to almost all the branches of knowledge. So when somebody put that question, what is civilization? What is progress in civilization? He gave a very important definition which has to be understood. Before we begin today's topic, this point has to be understood because he spoke not only for India, not only for the Western world, for every human being. And that will lead us, this statement will lead us to today's topic. Civilization, according to his definition, which is one of the best definitions of progress in civilization. What constitutes progress in civilization? Civilization is the progressive reading of spirit into matter. Now, this is a difficult statement to understand, but those who have read the Bible, they will understand. When Jesus said that you cannot have God and mammon at the same time. My kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of spirit. So if you have some basic idea of what the spirit is, or if you believe in Bible, if you believe in Vedas, if you believe in Buddha's teachings, you will find that all these prophets gave a wonderful formula which Swamiji has summarized in this small sentence is progressive reading of spirit into matter. Means material civilization, if it is devoid of its spiritual constituent, then mentally you cannot have peace at the same time. So we have a lot of material comforts, but somewhere that does not automatically translate into mental peace, satisfaction, lack of restlessness, peace, because peace is a very, you may say, simple word, but we actually do not know what peace is. Peace can be defined as absence of restlessness. Perhaps nobody understood it better than Buddha, who said the main cause of all suffering is restlessness. Restlessness of the mind, restlessness of the body. So yoga deals, to some extent, the physical yoga deals with the restlessness of the body. So once the body becomes restful, body becomes healthy, then yoga says you don't stop there. A restful body does not guarantee a restful mind. One may have a very restful or healthy body because of physical exercises, yoga. He may have the healthiest body, but at the same time, he may have a most restless mind, anxieties, fears, which is a result of improper thinking. So, progressive reading of spirit into matter includes our bodies, others' bodies, our interaction at the physical level. It's a huge science. All our sciences, medicine, physics, chemistry, they all deal with the material things. It is very good. It is definitely good to understand how our physiology works. If you want to be healthy, you should know what your body does, how it functions. You should have a basic knowledge of everything that the bodily systems need. So that is how you plan your living in such a way that the lifestyle with which you live can definitely ensure you a healthy physical living. That can be assured and that can be guaranteed if you follow the right principles. That is not what science is all about. But then there is another aspect, which is the mind. So, a healthy body doesn't imply healthy mind. So, we need another approach or a slightly higher approach when we deal with the mind. We have a lot of knowledge how our minds function, and that has led to different systems of psychology in the West and the East. But perhaps the Eastern traditions, the religions, the religions of the Vedas, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, which were born, you can say, they don't have any geographical location right now, but they they can be called as Eastern or Oriental religions. They also believed that human physical universe or physical body and physical existence is very important. So they also made their own discoveries, but they thought being more subtle, mental development or mental progress is more important. So they discovered the science of yoga, which along with the body helps you to create a healthy mind in a healthy body. So how do we create this healthy mind? So the greatest technique that was discovered by these yogis, by all the traditions, especially of the East, I'm not saying there are enough quotations and enough teachings in all the spiritual traditions of the world which deal with this mind, which deal with how to handle your thoughts. Because all the prophets knew that unless there is this progressive development in the spirit which influences first the mind at a higher level, and then that mind definitely influences the body. Many of our diseases, physical diseases, can be traced to our mental illness. They are known as psychosomatic diseases. Somatic is about the body, but psycho diseases, we do not know the proportion of our illness, which is because of faulty thinking, faulty mind. So meditation becomes important even at a very gross physical level. Meditation is not just for becoming spiritual. Even to exist and even to live a decent life, one needs meditation. So we start with that and try to find out how meditation helps us or should help us in our day to day life. Now, before we start about the benefits of meditation, we'll try to find out what meditation is not, what it doesn't do, because there are a lot of ideas about meditation that meditation will do this, meditation will do that, and people often don't know why we should meditate at all. So you have to understand what meditation does not do. Maybe meditation can help you physically to some extent, but definitely meditation will not directly bring you any material benefit. That is the first thing we have to rule out. What it doesn't do, we have to convince our mind. Meditation is not for that. Meditation is like medicine which we use to solve the problems of our mind, though it has its impact on the body. But if somebody thinks by meditating he can lead a healthy life, He has to do many more things. That is why our yoga starts with physical exercises. They say use meditation for a higher purpose. For healthy body, you can have asanas. You can uh, manipulate your body. You can stretch your body. You can use the forces that animate our body and uh, lead a very regular and healthy, lifestyle so that you can take care of the body. That is another science. But we should not mix these things up. A healthy mind may help a healthy body, but healthy mind will not create a healthy body. So we have to be very clear what meditation does not do. Then we'll come to the topic what it does to us. What meditation does to us, if we analyze, we have to find out why do we first of all, in the first place, need meditation. Before even we think of its benefits, why should we meditate at all? Because if you don't explain the goal or the purpose of any action, even a fool will not do it. Everybody wants, even a child, when you tell the child, when the parents tell the child, do this, do that, they don't like it. They don't like it because they want to be sure about the reason why they should be doing it. Unless you explain them the logic, a thinking child, I mean, a child who has started thinking, who has this power of discrimination, the power to decide what is good for him or good, not good for him. He may take guidance, but he will take his own decisions. That is one thing parents and elders should remember, that after a certain age, children should not be told what to do. You just can show them the benefits and how to make the right choice, giving some examples, and then decide you, and then tell them you decide what to do. This will lead to this, this will. So that they like to be told. So also with meditation. Why should I meditate? Not only children, but everyone will ask the question and it should be answered. So what do we do? Why do we meditate? First of all, we meditate. One of the reasons why all our, whether it is the Vedas, whether it is Upanishads, Gita, the Bible, everywhere in some form or the other, this meditation is emphasized. People may call it prayer, but prayer is a sort of meditation. Why should we pray? Because the Lord will be upset, or maybe He will not grant us what we want. That's a wrong idea of prayer. Prayer will never do those things. Just by prayer, you don't get things what you want. God is not a businessman. And you say, I'll pray, and then you give me this, give us uh, this day our daily bread. People take it literally. When Jesus said, give us this day our daily bread, what kind of bread did he say? He didn't say, you just pray to me and I'll supply bread. Then he would be not anything better than a baker. You can go to the bakery and buy a piece of bread. So you don't pray to God to give you your daily bread. Where what he said, what he meant, the bread that sustains life, I am giving you that which will sustain your spirit, not the physical bread, which you can earn anyway. You don't go to God for and pray for your daily bread. God has given us enough intelligence and the strength to earn our daily bread. We can do it without the help of God. So, what does prayer do? Prayer helps us to connect with a higher reality which can make us more helpful, which can make us more peaceful and help us to stabilize our lives. So, we need meditation for things which are not physical, but purely for some mental peace, some mental stability, for some mental security. because we are not secure, we are not peaceful, we are not restful, and that is why we are not happy. So for Buddha, meditation simply meant if you want to be happy, there is only one way. You have to be mindful, you have to meditate. Because there is no other shortcut to happiness. You can't be happy with a restless mind. So one of the most important ideas in Buddhism is it says you don't need anything, you don't need to do anything except control your thoughts, control your desires if you want to be happy. The condition is if you want to be happy, if you want to be disturbed, and if you want any kind of other things other than peace, then we can do whatever we like. We don't need meditation. But a stage comes to everyone's life because he starts with different goals in life. Every human being has no idea what will give him peace. So he runs after things which he thinks will give him peace. And just like a child plays with the toy, he takes up one toy, is not happy, throws it, goes and takes another toy, a slightly more sophisticated toy. Within a few days, he feels bored. Then he wants a more complicated toy because he's seeking the same happiness, same joy, which is not getting any longer with the old toy. You can't tell a grown up child to play with dolls. He'll say, I have enough, I played. There was a day when these dolls meant a lot, but now I have grown up, give me some other toys. Because he's searching for peace. Every human being is searching for peace and happiness because they are both linked to each other. We want peace because we want to be happy, we want to be blissful. And all the meditation techniques and the need for meditation is only because we want happiness. And happiness cannot be there in our life without peace. So now we know the goal of meditation. If that is the goal, then we can take this discussion further. What does meditation do, or what it does not do? It does not give you things which give you more restlessness. Then that is not the purpose of meditation. If meditation makes you more restless, more angry, more irritated, then something is wrong with your meditation. The technique is wrong. Somebody has guided you saying that this is meditation, but it is making you high strung. It is making you uh, more disturbing not only to yourself but to others. Because we have seen people who spend a lot of time in so called meditation, and after a certain time, they are more irritable than before. They are more angry. It may be a paradox, but if they don't meditate properly, or if they don't know the purpose of meditation or the technique of meditation, the more they meditate, the more their irritation, anger, and all the evil qualities which they are trying to control, they increase. And then they give up meditation altogether because they say it doesn't help. It doesn't help because the technique is not known. They are doing something which they think is meditation, but in fact, that is not giving them the fruits of meditation because the technique is wrong. So that is why these days you will find hundreds and hundreds of texts on meditation. Everybody claims or says that this is the best way, but we can know it from the result. The best way to judge if something works or not, we have to use a very scientific method. If some theory doesn't work, the physicist or the chemist or the chemical scientist or even the technology, they'll just throw it. Just because somebody says they will not do it, they expect that the experiment shows the results. They are very merciless. It may be a great person who has invented something, but they say it does not work. In the laboratory, experiment has failed, so we'll just mercilessly throw it out. So the same experiment or the same scientific methodology has to be followed when we choose a meditation technique. One has to be very careful. First, it has to be time tested. Even to study a subject, you go to the best university, to the best possible tradition, say Oxford or somewhere, where you know there is a tradition of teachers who will guarantee that you will get a very good knowledge of any particular subject you want to study there. You just don't go to any university on the street because you are very careful. You know, I need a tradition, I need somebody, I need an authentic tradition which will teach me the real thing, whether it is economics, physics. I want to really learn physics, not from a quack or anybody on the street. That will not give me the benefit of. That's why people work so hard to go to these prestigious university. That is for physical subjects, for subjects which deal with secular subjects. So also in the spiritual, there are so many spiritual fields, there are so many spiritual traditions. So we have to find out what is a authentic tradition, how many saints it has produced, how many or how many people have been benefited. Has it transformed the person who meditates? Is he a better person than what he was before? If he is a worse person, he may be a very devoted follower, but if he is worse, his life is getting more and more complicated, more and more irritable, more and more restless. No matter what tradition he or no matter what meditation he follows, he is he should not be, I mean, we should not follow that tradition. Either that person is not meditating according to the tradition that he follows, or he has because he has not understood. So that is why a lot of importance should be given not only to follow a particular tradition just because you are born into that, but you should be given the freedom to test. You should be given the freedom to find out whether it benefits you. And after that, you have to follow that tradition. So these are the some of the warnings that one has to follow. Any book or any tradition or any technique which has this name, meditation. There are hundreds of books because these books sell a lot. Everybody knows meditation will perhaps solve my problem, and they catch hold of any book and follow it, and then they say, it's not helping me. Then they take up another book and study another tradition, and finally they wander from one tradition to another tradition without even trying to find out whether the technique belongs to a tradition. Who are the people who initiated this tradition? How authentic it is? How many great men it has produced? And how many people it has benefited? So, all these things, this is another warning which, when we take up, how careful we are when we choose our universities. The parents will go out of the way and try their best to admit their children to the best universities because they want the best education. So they make a study. They try to find out which is the best possible university for this subject. And we take so much of trouble. So when we deal with meditation, we should not be very casual. Okay, just as we watch a movie or watch go for some leisure, go for some outing or play some sport just for the fun of it. One should not try to adopt or even try to follow some technique just for the heck of it, just because everybody, it's become a fashion to meditate. But what are you meditating upon? Where is it leading you? What is it doing to you? Is there an authentic tradition? We have to be as careful as we do about our careers, our professions. Our whole life is spent. You take an ordinary student or even an ordinary parent, how much of what proportion of his life he's spending right from kindergarten, which school to admit my child, whether it's a public school, if I can afford, can I give better education? So every time the effort is to get something, get some value for the money that you spend. We are very careful about those things. There's nothing wrong. One has to be careful when one makes choices in one's life. So also meditation, the practical importance, first of all, we should know why we should meditate. Secondly, even after knowing why we should meditate, how we should meditate, how one should do it. And finally, how to assess oneself. Even in the most ordinary universities, there is a system of assessment. Nobody teaches you and allows you to go free. You will be examined. Whichever subject you want to study, they will assess you and see how much progress you have made in that and give you grades. So, all these things we understand, but do we do the same thing with meditation? That is the question. Is it possible to assess? That is another question. And because if we take meditation seriously, as I hope we all do, otherwise we would not be here for the retreat. If it was just attending another social gathering, then we would not have been so serious. We go for trips, we go for pleasure trips. We don't, it's just for fun. But meditation is not fun. It's a life and death question. So we have to take it as seriously as we take our careers, as seriously as we take our health, as seriously as we take our own welfare, our life. So many things will depend on that. Our future itself will depend on our meditative life. That is why the Eastern traditions give so much of importance. So they had developed a concept which is very important to understand. Without this, we will not understand what meditation is. Now we are coming to the main topic, what meditation is. So, right from childhood, in our Eastern tradition, there is a, a way of analyzing what our mind does. I'll not go into technical details, they are not relevant, but two basic functions of the mind. And we can divide our mind because it does many things, but two things it does. One is our mind can be trained to be extremely skillful. Extremely skillful, how, suppose you become a doctor, how you develop your skills so that your mind always cooperates, whether you do an operation, whether you do some kind of surgery or even prescribe medicines, you need skill. So all your education hones your skills. A good doctor is one who is a skilled medical professional. He has to develop that skill. That is one part of the mind. It helps us to develop our skills to negotiate or to live our life very professionally so that we don't do things haphazardly. You won't trust an unskilled doctor or an unskilled engineer. Everywhere you need skills. So that is one part of the mind. So our Eastern traditions called it that that part of the mind. Mind cannot be divided, but we can be compartmentalized. One compartment of the mind or one faculty of the mind is simply developing skills, analytical skills, emotional skills, or even musical skills. Physical skills also need some mental development. Any skilled person you see has a skilled mind as well. It's not just the body is skilled. He knows how to develop the faculties, all the limbs in such a way. Even a surgeon has skilled hands. It's not that just with a skilled mind he can do surgery. So that skilled mind is in Vedanta or in our Eastern tradition is known as manas. But they say that mind is a very crude mind. It may look a bit surprising. How can a skilled mind be a crude mind? Because it can do certain things perfectly, just as a robot. A robot can do much better. It can it can be trained in such a way. Nowadays we have this AI, artificial intelligence. They're more skilled than human beings. I mean, they can based on the data that is better than human beings, some of these robots. But is the skill the only faculty of the mind? No, according to Eastern traditions, there is another part of the mind which can be developed only through meditation, and that is known as buddhi, or the logic, or the mind which decides or makes choices. That is a better word. If you see our whole life, it is good or bad depending on the choices we made. If you have made all the right choices in life, chosen the right career, chosen the right profession, chosen the right life partner, for example, everything that we did, if we had made the right choice all the time, then our life would have been happy. But since we do not do it, many times we make wrong choices. Maybe we don't know that we are making a wrong choice. So, this choice making ability, how to make choices, is one of the important techniques which meditation develops. So, it is known as buddhi. So, in our tradition, in the Eastern tradition, they gave a lot of importance not to the skilled mind. Said anyone can develop with a little practice by repeated actions, repeated habits. You can have a skilled mind, but you can't have a skilled buddhi. You can't have wisdom. You can have intelligence, but you can't have wisdom. To develop that wisdom, to make the right choices, you need a faculty which is a higher faculty of the mind. So that is a very clear distinction. And meditation is the technique which helps you to meditation, prayer in all the traditions. It's not just Eastern traditions. Whether it is the Jewish tradition, the Christian tradition, or the Buddhist tradition, even Islam, that faculty which helps you to make the right choice and thus make less mistakes in life is known as buddhi. So in the Bhagavad Gita, say Krishna tells Arjuna, the one who worships me in whatever form, I give him buddhi. He does not give you skills to become a good warrior, which Arjuna was. Of course, he fought the battle. He was obviously a skilled warrior. But God does not give that human beings can develop themselves by education. But buddhi has to be got by divine intervention, by meditation, by developing our higher faculties. So that is why he says, Krishna says to Arjuna, I help that person by buddhim dadami. Dadami means I give. I give that person buddhi to choose the right thing. It is also known as Viveka. Viveka means the discrimination. Very good, but they may not be pleasant. And many things may be pleasant, but they may not be good. Obviously, when you take medicines, medicines are not very pleasant things, but sometimes they are good. So sometimes in our life, many unpleasant things can be really good for us. How to know what is good and what is pleasant and what is bad, that faculty is developed by meditation. So in our tradition, meditation is or dhi. It is short known as dhi. That is the essence of the Gayatri mantra. Dhiyo yona prachodayata. So it's a prayer, just as we have prayers in different traditions. Gayatri was one of the most important prayer which was taught to the child, where he is told, along with your secular education, you become a very bright student. But side by side, maybe from the age of 6, he's given an Upanayana and the father tells him, or the teacher tells him, side by side, you have to develop another faculty of the mind so that you don't make wrong choices in life. Because the parents can't guide him indefinitely, and even if they guide him, they may not be able to guide him properly. A time will come when everyone has to be responsible for his own life, own decisions. If the parents think that they can take decisions, they are actually uh, not empowering the child. So this, at the age of 6, when the student was supposed to be sent to the Gurukul, this idea of studying away from the parents, studying away from home, encountering the world at that tender age, and learning the technique of making choices was what our education system developed, because they felt that six, instead of studying with mathematics and complicated things and being very happy that he can do this, he can do that, he can work with computers, he's so skilled, but is he skilled to take his own decision? Does he know what is right, what is wrong? Does he know what is helpful to him, what is not helpful to him? That part of education does not come if there is no meditation. And don't teach because it's not part of the syllabus. Meditation is such an essential part of our life. It is like breathing to the lungs. You cannot imagine life without breathing. The lungs cannot survive, the heart cannot. So that is why at the age of 6 or 8, this Gayatri mantra was given, which is supposed to be mantra. And that is the secret behind all the tradition of mantras or the meditation techniques. Everything that was developed after this Vedic prayer of Gayatri, the Gayatri mantra, which is a prayer, because the child has to be told that you are living in darkness. Just as the sun removes all the ignorance, the darkness of ignorance, let there be light. So we will at the end we will do a meditation on how can we meditate not on the God whom we believe, the form of God that we believe, but just light. Because this quotation, he said, everybody needs light. The ignorant need light, the educated needs more light than the ignorant, because the vanities of education are tremendous. When he said that, everybody was shocked. Oh, we are educated people, and those ignorant fools, village, rural folks, oh, they need light. We are enlightened. He said, bring light to everyone, the spiritual light, the light of Buddhi. Bring light to the ignorant, and bring more light to the educated, because the vanities of learning and vanities of education are tremendous. So they need more light. So meditation is that which teaches us, gives us the real light, the light of understanding that makes us depressed, that makes us sad, because of ignorance. And if we don't train our mind to meditate, we do not develop our buddhi, and if we don't develop our buddhi, we do not fulfill the most important part of our important phase of our life, or maybe will be neglected. So this explains why meditation is important. In the next session, we'll have a small break now. So because now once we have understood how important it is, then maybe in the next session we can find out how to do it, how to meditate. Because if it is so important, then we cannot be haphazard. Books see that the knowledge is correct so that I pass the examinations. We don't just do very systematic reading. So similarly in meditation, the techniques that have been evolved over ages, time-tested techniques, according to the tradition, set up by these wise people, we will benefit from there, from those techniques, and hope to make our life more peaceful, less restless, more joyful. So that's the goal of meditation, to solve the alternative methods of solving our physical problems. But for mental problems, for our problems that we face every day, every moment, not only every day, every moment, we just do not know how to deal with that. We look for medicine, we look for techniques which help us to address them. But since we do not have the right technique or the right approach or even the right attitude towards meditation, we fail in that. So that should be part of our education. As I said, it was supposed to have been handed over by the parents or the teachers to the child when he was 6 years, mind you, 6 to 8. That is a fixed age. Before even in those days to send them to go to the school and lead a life of discipline in these gurukulas or these so-called universities. At the age of 6, they were just asked to leave home and be on their own to develop their uh, life. That took chance. The wisdom, the buddhi of the mind that is needed for them to negotiate their life struggles. Education can't do everything. The education that the skills that they receive will help them become a skillful professional in whichever field they are. But that humans to be a uh, part of society who can help others and can help himself. For that they need buddhi. So we'll discuss it in the next session. So I'll take leave now after a few minutes.